Foster Hope Day and supporting children in foster care. My name's Nick Bognar, and I'm the chef at Indo restaurant in Tower Grove, Botanical Heights. And today I'm going to show you guys how to do a really easy, kind of fun at-home hand roll party. So what I like to do is kind of like post up on the couch, get some ingredients out in front of me, and essentially like maybe like watching movies or TV or something, and just kind of make little hand rolls for myself and my girlfriend. So it's one of the most fun things I think you can do at home. It's a lot easier than making full-blown like sushi rolls where you have to cut everything and kind of roll it up with a makisu. This way you can literally just roll it up with your hands and eat it right away, and then kind of mix and match with all the different ingredients and stuff. So first things first is I made some sushi rice. I already cooked the rice, but one thing I like to mention is whenever you make sushi rice, you should get a short grain rice, something that's labeled as sushi rice. Typically I'll go to a place like Global or J Asia or Pan Asia, and I'll look for anything that just says like Japanese sushi rice. My favorite brand is Nishiki. It's really widely available, so typically you can find it at most Asian markets, or even honestly even Schnucks, I think sometimes. But to be honest, most rices will do. And when you if you're not being super particular about it, after you mix it with the sushi vinegar and everything, it kind of works out no matter what. So then that gets me to the vinegar. What we like to do is a 5-to-1 vinegar to salt, because you really want to get an abrasive kind of like seasoning on the vinegar, because a lot of the flavor and seasoning from the sushi, when it's finished, comes from that vinegar. So rice wine vinegar and then salt, and then use about 2 parts sugar. So 5 parts vinegar, 2 parts sugar, and 1 part salt. So if I had a 16-ounce container of sushi vinegar, I would use about 5 to 6 ounces, or maybe 7 ounces of sugar, and about 3.5 or 3 ounces of salt. And you can always taste it too and kind of see. It's super duper important when we're being really precise about maybe like really high-end sushi. But when we're making like hand rolls for at home, you don't overthink it. And there's also sushi vinegar out there that's pre-made, and if you look at the ingredients, you can see if it has sugar. If it says sushi vinegar, you can see if it has sugar in it, if it has salt in it, and you can always add some salt to that as well, instead of making your own out of rice vinegar and salt and sugar. Okay, so I have about 8 ounces of sushi vinegar here, which has already been pre-mixed, and I made 2 cups of rice, which I think is plenty for maybe 2 people to make a bunch of hand rolls. You could always make 5 cups of rice. That's going to be for like a group of people, maybe even 6 people. And like I said, don't overwash your rice. Just cook some good white rice. 1 rinse through the water, and then equal parts of water and rice in a rice cooker. Typically, is probably the best way to do it. Rice cookers are widely available as well. So I got my rice in a pretty large bowl here with a spatula, and I'm just going to kind of pour this vinegar over the top. So if you make more than 2 cups of rice, you can get more vinegar. So I would, for 4 cups of rice, I would use almost 2 cups of vinegar, but maybe a little bit less. And it's good to do this while the rice is warm. And what I'm going to do is just take a very light motion and kind of just come across the rice like this. So I'm not really beating up the rice too much, and just kind of getting the rice to be fully incorporated with all that vinegar. And I'm just going to cut across like this and then kind of flip it. And the biggest thing about that is just I'm not going to damage any of those rice grains. And this will kind of make the rice get kind of sticky. So since my rice is getting mixed while it's hot, what I want to do now is just kind of spread it out in the bowl, nice and even. And what I've done is I've gotten all the lumps out of the rice. So the rice is very smooth right now. Here, let me get a few more out of here before I show you guys. Well, once I get all the lumps out of the rice, it's essentially mixed up all the way. Basically, vinegar is kind of touching all the rice in the bowl. And that'll give me some nice sushi rice. And then what I need to do is I need to kind of spread this out in the bowl, because I need this to cool down a little bit before I use it. So I'm going to let this rice cool. You can see that it's really smooth in there. I'm going to let this rice cool down, and then I'm going to kind of work on some of these condiments that I put together and show you what I've done. Because the fun part about the hand roll thing is you can mix and match so many different things, and it ends up being awesome, and you can get creative too. Like, you can even use things like chicken teriyaki or beef or leftover steak from dinner the night before, or fried chicken, which is kind of a fun one that's actually really delicious. But I've put together some more typical sushi ingredients here. So I'm just going to set this off to the side. After that cools for like about 5 minutes, I would get it into some kind of like Dutch oven or whatever, maybe a Tupperware that you can cover so that stays kind of warm throughout the night while I'm making hand rolls. The idea of a hand roll is for that to be warm. It's better if it's warm, in my opinion, but it's not such a big deal. If you like the rice to be a little bit colder, that's up to you too. You can have fun with it. So the next thing is the nori, or the seaweed. And since we're making hand rolls, I would definitely try to find the best quality nori that I could get at the store. And you're going to want to get half sheet seaweed. So that's seaweed that's already been cut in half, and that's just going to make it easy for you. And the better the seaweed, the better these are going to taste. So I would maybe splurge a little bit on one pack. It's not going to be crazy expensive. It's still just seaweed. But you can get about 100 sheets per pack. And basically, so you're eating a lot more seaweed than you would with normal sushi. So you're going to want something that tastes good, that stays crispy. So I would just go to maybe any of those Asian stores and just try to find whichever pack of seaweed is the most expensive. And if anything, I would splurge on the seaweed. Then it's only going to be about $10, so no big deal there. I put together some different sauces that I think are really delicious with everything. I got some crab here, so I got some mayonnaise. And what I got was called QP mayonnaise. QP mayonnaise is like a Japanese style mayonnaise, and it's really good right off the bat, but you could always get something like Duke's. I would probably use either Duke's or QP if I didn't change the mayonnaise at all and just used it straight up. I got some wasabi. You can buy that at the store in like a pre kind of mixed up pack, or you can buy powder from the Asian store and mix it with water. There's directions right on the bag. If you got a bag of wasabi, it's going to be quite a bit of wasabi, so you might never need to buy it again. But, that's not such a bad thing. And I got some salt, and I got some pretty, better high-quality salt, like Maldon sea salt, because this is kind of a finishing salt in this situation. But salt is actually something that I think people overlook with sushi. You can season things with salt, and it's going to taste much better than if you don't season it at all, and then even if you dip it in soy sauce. And then, of course, I just have some soy sauce in a little ramekin here because, honestly, when I'm just sitting there, too, I like just a little bit of regular soy sauce, and you kind of dip the hand roll in there, and it's really not even that bad. You could always kind of take the soy sauce and use ponzu sauce instead. You can buy ponzu sauce at the store already made, or you can just take soy sauce, kind of sweeten it up a little bit, and add lime juice or lemon juice, or a combination of the two. Some more fun things to play around with if you keep doing this, and you could always make hand roll night a regular thing. So I have some blue crab. I got this just out of a can from a seafood market, so Bob's Seafood would be a great place to get this. You could probably find crab, different types of crab, maybe like Whole Foods, or I think they might even have some stuff at Schnucks now, especially like that. I have some salmon. I would definitely go to a seafood purveyor if I was going to start using fish. But the cool thing about these hand rolls is you don't really need to use fish. If I got some nice, high quality fish from Whole Foods, like salmon especially, or Bob's Seafood, I would definitely be cool using that. I definitely wouldn't get something that was a little bit lower quality. But I've taken the salmon and just kind of cut it into little strips, if you can see in there. And that's pretty easy. You just cut across and then you cut little strips. And to be honest, a lot of sushi hand rolls, you can use kind of minced salmon, which almost might be easier depending on the type of knife you have at home. Sometimes slicing fish is a little easier said than done. I've taken an avocado here and I've made little slices out of it. I got a cucumber and I did the same thing. And one of my favorite things is just green onions, sliced up like that too. And the cool part about this is, honestly, this is giving me just 5 little things right here is giving me a ton of ingredients to kind of work with to make hand rolls. Okay, so now my rice is kind of cooled out. At this point, I would transfer it back into some kind of Tupperware or something and get it so that it stays nice and warm. Lucky for you, it's a restaurant, so I have a nice rice warmer here that keeps everything nice and warm for me. If you have a rice cooker that has a warming option, you can mix the rice and put it back into the rice cooker, which is going to be really easy as well. You're going to need a little cup of water just to get your hands a little wet before you start touching the rice. Bonus points if you have a cool ceramic handmade cup, or a coffee mug maybe even. And obviously, guys, wash your hands. Please, wash your hands as much as you can. It's probably a good idea to have a little towel like a wet towel, just in case anything gets a little bit messy, you can kind of wipe down. And I would probably put out like a nice surface, like a butcher block or some kind of, cutting board. I have like my nice sushi cutting board here, which has a lot of space on it. And if you had that in front of yourself with all your ingredients like this, just kind of ready to rock. And then my sushi nori's next to me, my cup of water, my wasabi, my dipping sauce, my salt, and my rice is right next to me as well. I would just put that right on the table with you. And you got all that stuff in one little spot, then you can start putting together hand rolls. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my rice, and I'm just going to grab what might seem like a very small amount of rice. And I think that's better. You can always go up or down. But if you can see this is almost like a less than 1 ounce, basically small ball of rice. And I'm going to take that. I'm going to take a piece of my seaweed. And I want my left hand to be dry with the seaweed, or if I'm left-handed, my right hand. And the seaweed wants to be crispy. That's going to make this taste way better. Take the lightest amount of time and just kind of spread this onto the seaweed like this. Okay? Very easy. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't overthink it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm going to make this first one kind of a classic one. I'm going to take a little bit of wasabi and just kind of spread it in the middle there with my fingers. I'm going to put 1 piece of salmon. Something to think about, less is more. We don't need to put a ton of stuff in each one. I think it's kind of like a taco where not too much filling and you can eat more of them, and that to me is more fun too. I'm going to put some green onions. So salmon, green onions. And for me, I'm definitely going to hit this with some salt, just enough to kind of coat that piece of salmon. Now, the way I like to roll these, I'm going to take the bottom corner and just kind of go over where the salmon is and just kind of fold it over and then just kind of roll it out like this. And they don't need to look perfect. I think they look cool when they look like this, like little cones, like kind of cute. You can roll them perfectly square, however you want to do it. But the cool thing about hand rolls, guys, is that's it. Literally, right there. It's done. It's made. And if I'm kind of just chilling on the couch with my friends, I'm not even going to do anything else. I'm just going to hold this in my hand and, dip it in some soy sauce and just kind of go at it. Pretty good. Honestly, that was pretty delicious. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna make another one because I'm still hungry. So let's do what I got the mayonnaise and the crab for. So what we call the classic kind of like California roll. Something would be cool to have for this, which I don't have right now, is just some like toasted sesame seeds. And you can add that to anything too, a little toasted sesame seed in each one. I'm going to put some wasabi because I like wasabi in my California roll. A little bit of that blue crab. A little bit of that QP mayonnaise. Not too much, although I like mayonnaise. 1 cucumber. 1 slice of avocado. And I mean, honestly, guys, that is a California roll right there. And this one's going to be a little bit fatter than the other one, and look at that, like a little bouquet. That's fun. Dip it and rip it. Here we go. Wow. Honestly, I might make like 5 more of these right now. But that's what's cool about this. I have an infinite amount of choices here, and even just rice and seaweed for the kids is probably fun. It might make a huge mess, but I'm sure a lot of things you do with your children make huge messes, and they probably don't even taste as good as this. I definitely think children should make hand rolls. My last thing is play around with the ingredients, I seriously think if you went and picked up some fried chicken from the Lee's, the crispy kind, the spicy kind, and made little fried chicken hand rolls, you would be doing a really good job as well. So anyway, thanks again for supporting children in foster care. And my name's Nick at Indo Restaurant. And come see us.